Hello everyone, welcome to Chef Shelley's Kitchen. Today we've got a real treat. I know, I say that all the time, but we have one today. We're going to make a broccoli cheese bake, and it's almost like a quiche, although I'm not going to add any eggs. Really kind of more dairy than anything, and I've made this also keto friendly. So I'm going to go in and put my pot on my burner here, and I'm going to add butter to that so it can start melting. And as that melts, I'm going to let that kind of simmer nicely. I've tried to get it heated prior to starting. Some really simple ingredients. I've got obviously broccoli, and what I did for purposes of the show, I actually steamed my broccoli already. So here's a little thing that I want to tell you about steaming your broccoli. When you steam it, you want to keep some firmness to it. So almost done, but still firmness, because basically you're going to be putting it in the oven. So, you know. Now, to this, I'm actually adding almond flour. So if you don't have almond flour, you're not on keto, certainly you can just use regular all-purpose flour, okay? So to that, I'm now going to add some chopped onions, okay? And again, always look in the comment sections, you'll see just how much is needed. And I'm making enough for this size casserole dish, okay? So just kind of your square one. Obviously, if you want more, you just double the recipe, but you'll know this is kind of what it's intended for. So as that's kind of cooking there, and boy, it smells so good, especially the butter. So you know, I don't use margarine, that's processed. You can certainly use ghee, which even would be a better a substitute for the butter. Now to that, this is actually almond milk. I'm going to be adding almond milk to it and still taking it yet to the next level. Just kind of let that simmer there for a little bit. And then I'm going to be adding salt and pepper. Now, what I always say is this is kind of salt and pepper to the taste. If you're not really sure, how much should I maybe start out with? I always use about 1/4 teaspoon. And I like my pepper as much as I like my salt, so I usually do about the same amount, okay? So totally up to you if you want less. I always say start with less, because guess what? You can always add. All right, so we're gonna give this just a minute here to get itself together. I'm gonna let it actually just boil for a little bit, and then we'll just kind of talk through what's next. So once I get this kind of boiling a little bit and it's almost there, I'm going to be adding cheese. Now here's an interesting thing. This is actually Swiss cheese. You may not realize it, but Swiss cheese actually has fewer calories than cheddar cheese. And this was a block of cheese. I like being able to grate my own cheese. I have my coworker Shannon to thank for that, because she taught me about how she only grated her own grated cheese. And so we've got some grated Swiss cheese. And I use my Vitamix. You probably can't see it from this angle, but I use my Vitamix to actually grate it itself, okay, or shred it, I should say. So I love, love, love being able to do that. All right, now to that, I'm going to go on and add the cheese. Okay, just going to add the whole thing of cheese, because we're going to make this creamy. All right. And then to this, now that that's added, like so, I'm going to take it off the burner. I'm going to put it over here on my little spot. And I'm going to now put the broccoli that I steamed earlier. I'm going to combine the two. Okay? So all that mixture. And I'm so excited because not all of this, but most of this is actually broccoli that I grew in my little garden. And it's a funny story because I wasn't trying to grow broccoli. I was growing collard greens and kale. And all of a sudden, one day I looked out and voila, I was like, Oh my God, Curtis, there's broccoli out there. So, you know, it must have been cross-pollination. I mean, I bought the little plants from the farmer's market, so that's the only thing I can think of. So now that I've mixed that nicely, we're gonna transfer this to the dish, to my little Pyrex dish here. And certainly, you know what you can do if you wanted to put some more cheese or save some cheese for the top, you certainly could do that, okay? All right, so what we're gonna do now, let me just move this out of the way so you can see it. I've preheated the oven to 325, and so we're gonna put it in the oven, I would say just about for, I'm gonna start out with 30 minutes, and you know my golden rule, if I'm thinking 30, I'm gonna check it at about 25 and kind of gauge whether or not it should go a little longer. All right, so we'll be back. Okay, so I left my broccoli cheese bake in the oven for 35 minutes. And I've given it a little bit of time to cool because I want to be able to test it out. And so this is kind of the composition of it. If you can take a look at that. And so let's go on and try it out. One thing you'll notice is that it's kind of gooey, which is exactly what we wanted. And looking at it, I would probably add some extra cheese on the top. That would be one thing I would do a little differently because I can see the cheese all throughout, but it'd be nice to have the cheese on top too. But anyway, let's give it a taste. It's still warm, but boy, I love that cheese in the inside. You can taste it throughout. This was just the right amount of seasoning. It's good. Okay. Another great way to add a vegetable, do it creatively, keto friendly. It's delicious. I won't be rude. I'll eat the rest after we sign off. But thanks again for watching. If you haven't subscribed, just click on the little picture of me in a circle. Love to have you. I come out with a new simple, delicious, healthier recipe every other week, so not overwhelming. And, you know, just ideas. I know people get stuck sometimes. I don't know what to cook today. That happens to me often, and sometimes that becomes the way in which I generate a new recipe or thought for it. So thanks again. Bye-bye.